Live from the Rant Radio Network,
You're listening to Real Estate Rant with your host, Alex Alanis.
and your co-host, Mr. Alonso Rodriguez.
No problems, just solutions for real estate needs, hot topics, and controversial chat. And welcome to Real Estate Rant here at the towers of the Rant Radio Network.
The stomping grounds. The holy grounds.
The holy grounds. There we go again.
There we go.
Looks like a warm day today. Dodgers lost yesterday. They're going to play again today. I'm your host, Mr. Alex Alanis. And to my left here, Mr. Alonso Rodriguez. My broker in-house today, we have Miss Shannon Peace from Bayside Escrow.
Welcome, Ms. Shannon.
Hello, thank you for
Hello,
having
Miss
me.
Shannon. How are you? Let's start the show like we usually do. We do the design deal every morning here at the Real Estate Rant. We give out a $25. Man, look at me. I'm all shaky this morning.
Am I making you nervous?
No, you're not making me nervous at all. We have a $25 gift card to anybody that calls in. Give us a call, 855-693-4897. That's 855-693-4897. Or you can email us at realestaterantradio@gmail.com. Now, we won't get your emails during the show, but we will answer them in subsequent shows. The gift card is for Stevens Steakhouse, located in the City of Commerce. Compliments of Joe and Don at the steakhouse. Or you can win a $200 gift card from Gardens Dental in Bell Gardens. And that does work. You know, it's painful for a few days, but kind of gives you like a little bit of, I don't know, like a buzz in your teeth. It's kind of weird. Anyway, talking about the email. Did we get any emails this week?
We absolutely did. This email comes today from Walter from L.A., and it reads, my husband owns a house with his father. Both of their names are on the house, and the house has a mortgage larger than what it's worth. When my father-in-law dies, is the mortgage completely my husband's responsibility, or is it mine as well?
Now, I had to catch something there. It's Walter from L.A.
Well, that Walter, I believe, was the last name. It's Susan Walters.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. You made me a little nervous there for a second.
Well, we are in California. I don't know.
That's true. I believe that there is always a clause in the loan documents that talks about the responsibility of the borrowers to the loan or to the lender. What would you say about that, Shannon?
Yeah, there is. And usually all mortgages are both individually and jointly due. So even if one party passes away or even deeds off title, they still owe it. It's still on their credit. They both have to pay individually if one passes.
But this question, my understanding, it's son and dad bought the house, and I believe now he's married.
Excuse me.
She's asking if it's her responsibility as well.
No, it's not.
It's not, huh?
No, because he acquired it individually. So it's if he were to die, the husband, then his interests would have to be dealt with because we are in a community property state. But as far as debt goes, it would be his debt.
Wow. Well,
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good question.
Yeah, because it's considered his sole and separate property, right? Because
Right.
he bought it with his dad. Just because she's married to him, she no longer has that debt.
Yeah, she's never had the debt because he acquired it prior to their marriage, from what I gather.
Now, that's interesting, though, but that also means that even though he's been paying on that property that whole time, now she doesn't have ownership either.
She could argue ownership if she wants it because more than likely I would assume that they have used community property funds to pay the mortgage.
That's
Whoever's paying for it.
Exactly, and that's what one could argue, that
Right.
the home could be covered by the mortgage. It's in their marital, is it their marital residence?
Right. It could be
so
argued.
It could be an argument on that. Once again, it's a question you might want to ask your attorney. We are not attorneys; they're just simple opinions. And
You're not an attorney, Alonso?
not yet. I haven't passed my bar exam.
Not yet,
Not yet.
Yeah, working on it.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you to our studio audience. Right on. Let's throw up the design deal again. We've had this design for probably a month and a week now, and nobody's gotten it. We've gotten a few guesses. I think Mike Davis said that it was a log cabin, and I said, well, close but no cigar. And Manny Pantalones did get a social media response on it, and it was correct, but we need you to call in, 855-693-4897.
What did they say? I don't remember.
Okay, you're going to try and get me on that one, aren't you? You know what, Mr. Pantalones? I have it right here for a $25 gift card at Stevens Steakhouse. And I'll tell you, we had some good food there the other day. We had, what was it, tri-tip?
Oh yeah, the tri-tip. It was very, very good. The tri-tip with the coleslaw, and it came with the whole serving.
I didn't even need a knife. It just with the fork, I just was able to cut the steaks like that. It was good. You ever been to Stevens,
No,
Shannon?
I haven't.
Well, I think it's about time.
I think we could use one of those gift cards now.
Okay, all right.
25 will
Yeah.
cover our lunch today.
Right. Well, possibly. I got some things to do after the show. Anyway, give us a call, 855-693-4897, $25 gift card to Stevens Steakhouse, or you can win a $200. That's $200. I'm surprised the phone's not ringing off the hook right now. Teeth whitening at Gardens Dental, 7218 Garfield Avenue in the City of Bell Gardens. In studio today, Miss Shannon from Bayside Escrow. Shannon Peace. I like your name.
Thank you.
Shining peace.
Yeah, Peace.
Peace.
That's a nice name. Shannon, why don't you give us a short introduction about yourself?
Well, I started in the business back in '98. I actually started in a messenger service. So when you would need a messenger, pick up your initial deposit, loan docs, whatever, you would call me. I would order the messenger. So through
I think we all started that way, huh?
Yeah.
through that, I was leased out to title companies. So then I started learning title, and I ended up actually becoming a title officer.
Oh,
For quite a few years, I've done residential, industrial, subdivision, commercial, all kinds of things. Then the market crashed. This is not our first crash. The market crashed probably 8-10 years ago.
well, I came from the market crash in the early '90s.
Yes. So when that went, well, that was after this. Then I moved into escrow, and I've been in escrow ever since.
Now, so you've been kind of ambidextrous in the real estate industry. I mean, different fields, if you will. But what interests you about escrow? Like, what made you put your feet down on that eventually?
I'm really a multitasker personality, and escrow really is the one stop. We do everything. We talk to everybody. We're the only party in the whole transaction that deals with listing agent, selling agent, buyer, seller, lender, home warranty, termite, NHD, you name it, we deal with it. 1031, IRA custodian, short sale lenders, negotiators. We are the only party in the whole transaction that has that ability as a neutral party to talk to everybody, and I love that.
So she covered escrow in a nutshell.
Well, that's the show. What is Arvin saying at Three Guys Rant? And that's how you do it. Or what was that, Mr. Pantalones?
I'm sorry, but that is copyrighted and protected.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll make up our own thing here on the Real Estate Rant.
We got to talk to the writer, to our show producer and writer, to come up with some of our own slogans.
Yeah, let me write that down real quick.
What about here at the towers?
Here at the towers of the Rant Radio Network. Actually, I'm trying to do the outro, if you will, Mr. Pantalones, because Shannon just gave us the whole escrow thing in a nutshell. So why do we need to talk about anything else?
Oh, there's much more to talk about.
Well, exactly. That's what we're leading up to. So we usually start off with the guests now, because on the Real Estate Rant, what we try to do is we try to ensure the public trust. And what I mean by that is that the information that we want to bring on the show is to be informative. So the first thing that we usually ask is what kind of schooling is involved in becoming an escrow officer?
There is no required schooling. Experience is your school in our industry. There are classes. There's 2 recognized companies or institutes that you can go through, the California Escrow Association and the Escrow Technical Institute or Escrow Institute, and they both offer classes. You can become certified, but it's not required to advance or become.
I've never heard of them. Have you heard of those?
Actually, I have. There is some required continuing education, isn't there? I believe there's a different kind of escrow that's done through a title company, and I believe they have some kind of certification.
There's no requirement.
Well,
it's optional.
It's all optional.
It's all optional. There's Escrow Training Institute and the California Escrow Association, and you can get certified as an assistant. You can get certified as an officer. You can get certified as a manager. There's varying degrees. There's varying classes, short sale, bulk sale, whatever you want to do. But there are no mandatory requirements on being an escrow officer regarding education and things like that. It's experience. And if you can't talk your walk, you can't do it.
Well, let's back up a little. Let's pretend like I don't know anything about real estate. What is escrow?
Escrow is a neutral third party in the transaction. We take instruction. We don't give instruction. So, and it must be mutual. So if the seller wants to do something and the buyer doesn't agree, we can't comply to those instructions or requests. We're also the ones that, as I said earlier, talk to everybody in the transaction. We're the only one that has authority as a neutral third party to communicate with everybody in the transaction. In addition, we disperse majority of the funds outside of payoffs, which is what title does. So paying your commission, brokers.
And we like that.
Yeah, dispersing for termite. Any costs incurred with a transaction, for the most part, is done by escrow. We handle a lot of money, a lot of paperwork, and a lot of personalities.
So for the
Boy,
listener,
that's a whole other show, isn't it?
so for the listener out there, when does escrow actually start? When does the process of escrow actually start?
That begins the minute that your contract's accepted by the seller, or the terms are all negotiated and you have an accepted offer. Then escrow's opened and we begin doing all the work, and we communicate. We provide the lender with, if their buyer's financing, we provide the lender with documentation that reiterates the contract terms with our escrow instructions, and we manage the HUDs, disbursements, everything.
So at that moment when the purchase contract is accepted, then the earnest money deposit is taken to escrow, and that's when immediately you guys start doing your thing.
Right.
You know, that kind of brings to mind. I've been caught up in situations where we'll get an accepted contract and we have an executed contract, and the listing agent just takes their sweet time opening escrow.
Right.
And they might take 3 or 4 days, to well, hey, I'm still waiting for the escrow information, because what we're looking at is a date and time as to when the contingency starts.
Contingency start the date of your acceptance. Opening of escrow is not relevant to your timeframes that you're bound by. You're still bound by the terms of the contract.
Yes, but sometimes I have the lenders that tell me, well, you know what, we didn't get this information from escrow until a week later. And so that kind of puts a damper on the loan contingency at times. So that's just
right.
That's
It
just
cuts
something,
into your time frames.
It really does.
It really does.
It really does cut into that time frame.
That's why you need an escrow that can work fast.
Yes. We were coming up on a break.
Don't touch that mouse.
I'm going to count you down.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with some more Real Estate Rant.
Are you watching the game at home? Why? Come watch it at Mambo Grill, the hottest spot in Downey. You'll have good food, drinks, and a great time at a low price. We have the coldest beer in our sports bar, where you can enjoy the game on any of our huge flat screen TVs. And when your home team wins, you get 25% off anything in Mambo Grill. We're on Downey Avenue, 1 block north of Firestone, or visit us on the web. Mambo Grill, love at first bite.
Do we have your attention? When it comes to tequila, 2 things matter: heart and passion. Never compromising integrity for mass production. Number 1 tequila delivers the goods. Taste the heart and passion of Mexico in every bottle. We make it right. We make it fun. Superior tequila. There's only number 1. There's only number 1. There's only number 1.
Been in an accident? Then you need your vehicle professionally repaired. That's exactly what you get when you bring your vehicle to Greg's Auto Body Repair. Free quotes within minutes. We will provide everything you need for a hassle-free auto body repair, from an accurate estimate to working with your insurance company. We will get your vehicle to its pre-accident condition as soon as possible. Greg's Auto Body has been serving Los Angeles County and local cities since 1970. Call us at 562-789-1300.
A home is the biggest investment in most people's lives. Buying or selling should be a positive experience.
Whether you want to be a wealthy real estate investor or just trying to find a place to call home, at AJR & Associates, we focus on the client's needs.
We understand the market better than most. Let us bring the value to you and make the right choice.
AJR & Associates, making your dream house a reality. Call us today for a free consultation at 562-882-1976. Or you can log on to www.hrrealtors.com.
With a track record of great results, bringing knowledge, wisdom, and expertise to you. Hablamos español. Live from the Rant Radio Network
You're listening to Real Estate Rant with your host, Alex Alanis.
And your co-host, Mr. Alonso Rodriguez.
No problems, just solutions for real estate needs, hot topics, and controversial chat.
Please invite me to all that.
Welcome back to Real Estate Rant here at the towers of the Rant Radio Network. I'm your host, Mr. Alex Alanis, and my co-host, Mr. Alonso Rodriguez. In studio today, we have Miss Shannon Peace from Bayside Escrow. You can reach her at 714-550-6300. That's 714-550-6300. Or you can email her at shannon@baysideescrow.com. They also have a website, www.baysideescrow.com. Pretty simple. We were talking about, what did we end up on last segment?
We were talking about escrow, and we were, Shannon here was giving us the rundown, basically, and the
lowdown.
The lowdown on it.
The down low.
We're talking about schooling.
Oh, schooling. Okay. Just let me throw the number out real quick. Give us a call. You can win a $25 gift card or a $200 teeth whitening. If you call in and ask Shannon a question, or if you happen to get the design deal, and Mr. Pantalones looks like he's busy over there, so we won't see that up on the screen. But if you get the design, oh, there we go. Thank you, sir. If you get the design for the week, you can win a gift card. Or if you ask Shannon a question or ourselves, you can also win the gift card or the $25 gift card to Steven's Steakhouse or the $200 teeth whitening to Gardens Dental. So what about schooling, Shannon?
Well, as I said, there's no required schooling in order to progress through title or escrow. It's obviously suggested so that you can keep up with the regulations and laws that we have to follow. But because of the varying types of escrow companies, it's kind of hard to manage.
And that's where my next question comes out. What are the different types of escrow? Because I know there's one that has to do with DOC, and then there's a non-independent and independent escrow.
Yes.
Can you explain a little bit about those?
There's two categories of escrows. There's controlled and non-controlled. There's only one type of escrow company that falls in that category, which is licensed. And licensed is by what used to be the DOC. It's now the DOBO, Department of Business Oversight. It merged with Department of Financial Institutions in July. So since July, escrows are now DOBO, and they are licensed. There's a whole set of laws and rules that we have to go through. We have audits. There's
Background checks.
financial requirements, FBI clearance by all employees. You have to have a manager who's on site that's been 5 years as an escrow officer
5 years.
through the DOC.
And there's another one for 4 years. What's the 4-year one? I read there's one for 5 and one for 4.
I'm not sure about the 4, but the 5 years is to be an escrow manager, and you have to have a manager on site.
On site at all times, right?
Yes, and
That's
they
a
have to have
requirement?
5 years of experience under a DOC or DOBO now. They can't have been an escrow officer at another type of escrow and come in. It has to be specific DOBO experience.
Okay.
The other kinds are the uncontrolled, which are a licensed escrow is controlled, and it's called an independent. The other one is non-independent, which would fall under now the BRE and DOI. So Department of Insurance are escrow companies that are in a title company. So a specific title company that has its in-house, so to speak, escrow, that's a Department of Insurance escrow. Then you have the BRE, which are broker owned by a real estate broker.
Which pretty much are really easy to set up. That
Yes.
they don't require absolutely nothing. And
I think Alonso's getting some ideas over
no,
here.
no. And I've did a little bit of research on it, and pretty much it's all the way it's based on the recovery fund, right? That's how they
There's no bonding. There's
no bonding,
there's
no surety,
clearance.
no anything. It's
Your money
Now,
It's pretty
for,
much-
for a BRE
and a
escrow.
DOI.
Okay.
You have no clearances. The escrow officers that work in an independent DOBO escrow are your cleanest employees. You can't have any marks on your record. And even if every time you change employers, you have to fill out a new application for the DOBO. You have to go through the Escrow Agents Fidelity Corporation, EAFC, which is another certification you have to be in a DOBO escrow company. There are so many requirements and clearances and backgrounds. If you lie on your application, your employment can be jeopardized. So it doesn't even matter necessarily that you have a mark on your record, but you have to disclose your employment, residency, and legal history for the last 10 years. If you omit one item, they could jeopardize your employment for omission, because that's still an act of moral inturpitude, and they don't want you working.
like we say in real
let's just
estate.
say they're
Like we
liars.
say in real estate, disclosures.
Yep. And DOI and BRE do not have any requirements. They could hire anyone off the street. You can have a convicted felon working, and they wouldn't know and they wouldn't care because they don't have to.
Pretty much, it's just backed by a licensed real estate broker, right?
Yeah, or Department of Insurance, which is a title company.
Now, so you're saying that if I open a transaction, I can open a transaction as a real estate agent with any of these escrows?
There's a few limitations. Department of Insurance, our title company escrows, you could take anyone could take business there. Usually, because of rates, people go there when they do large amounts, like a subdivision.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about the escrow fees,
Right.
Okay.
Escrow fees are they're all independent. There's no like, for example, lenders have to disclose fees, and title insurance companies, when they produce their rates, they have to abide by them. Escrow has none of that limitation or requirements to fees. So Department of Insurance escrow companies are governed by their title company, how they work. BRE is governed by the Department of Real Estate, or Bureau of Real Estate's rules. And the DOBO is governed by the Department of Business Oversight rules. Now, they all work different, but the best thing is, one of the limitations that BRE has is you have to have, the only escrows they can open are ones that are through that broker's company. So Department of Business...
With the BRE escrow.
Yes. So Department of DOBO, I can take anyone's business from anywhere. It doesn't matter. BRE, they can only take the ones that are through their own company. So whoever their broker is, any agent through their broker, that's the only business they can take. They cannot take outside business in.
So DOBO can take a Century 21 agent from Mexico?
Yeah. Well, not Mexico, but
see,
yeah.
caught her.
Not Mexico.
I thought I'd throw you off there, Shannon,
Oh,
a
no,
little bit.
I run everybody. And actually, one of our requirements is we have to run every agent, broker, make sure everyone's license is good. And we also have to run all of our principals through the Terrorist Act, the SDN lists that the government produces, to make sure we cannot accept or process funds that are on a marked, attached to a marked person.
And how do you check that?
There's a website. If you Google SDN list,
Go figure.
SDN, huh?
You know,
SDN.
if you want to know anything, just go to Google.
Big Brother watching us, huh?
Oh man, just go to Google and you'll find it all there.
yeah. So SDN is the list that we have to run all principals through. So if we're paying
When you say principal, you're talking about the client.
seller and buyer, yes.
So okay. So give me an example. If a seller happens to show up on that list, give me an example.
Can't give them money. You cannot give them proceeds because they're on the terrorist watch list.
How does one get on that list?
I wouldn't know that answer.
That's an whole other show.
That's
Yeah.
a list you don't want to be on, huh?
Yeah, it's not a list you want to be on. And there's actually a lot of common names. So I have had principals that have come up on searches, and then you have to eliminate them through a statement of information, just like you would judgment liens and all that. You have to
that's
clear
what
them.
the SI is for, right?
Right. That's one of the things that we could use it for. If they have a common name, then it comes up as a hit. And it's not only, not to be racial, it's not only the Middle Eastern names that pop up.
No,
there are many names that come up on that list.
How many Alonso Rodriguez you're going to get there?
Exactly.
Or Alejandro Alanis.
I Googled my name the other day. There was like 150, and some of them were female.
Yeah, I'm not the only Shannon Peace in Southern California.
Thank you to your studio audience.
Yeah, there's so we have, that's a lot of background work that most people don't realize we're doing. We have to clear everybody, and we can't even pay an agent if they don't have an active working license. You can have a restricted license, but we can't pay you.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, things that we have to have in compliance in our file as a DOBO escrow. I've worked at all three, so I know the rules are way more lax with a DOI and then a BRE. The DOBO is the most strict, but we're the most insured, we're the most backed. Your funds are guaranteed. If there was something to happen, they have federal backing, they have insurance and bonding. So your money's safest at a DOBO.
That's really interesting. Yeah. That's really interesting to me, though, that that escrow officers, because, I kind of depend on the escrow officers when I'm doing a transaction to kind of guide me through some of the transaction, if you will. And it's interesting that you don't need any kind of certification or there's no state requirement, and you folks are actually the ones handling the money.
Well, education-wise, there's not. But I can't handle your money if I've had any type of legal issues with money related. They're not even allowed to work.
Well, but you said if you were a convicted felon, you could be working for.
Yes, you can. That's why
With some of the
shouldn't we'll use those.
oh, okay,
I don't want to ding anybody else.
No, it's
but
okay.
It's really.
I mean, I want to know these things. I want the listeners to know these things. I want the agents that are listening to know this. So me as an agent, what is the best escrow that I could use to protect myself?
It would be a DOBO to protect you and your clients.
Okay, yeah.
Because you know that they're doing the most due diligence. We have random audits. We're required by the Department of Business Oversight to report once a year on an audit. They can also walk in at any time and audit us. They could walk in right now, and we'd have to comply with any audit requests.
And I know for the BRE escrow, all they do is they have to disclose if they go over a limit of $1 million a year, a calendar year.
Yeah, their requirements for BRE are a lot lower, and then DOI is even less. So it's really, the best way is to run the escrow company before they're chosen. You know, whether you're the listing agent or the selling agent, is clear the company first.
Oh, no, you said run the escrow company? What do you mean, like Google?
No, you can actually look them up through the Department of Corporations, or Department of Business Oversight. You can try to look them up on Better Business Bureau. You have to actually you have to request certification through them.
Yeah, but the Better Business Bureau, to me, they're just collecting money over there.
That's true. A lot of people think that, but if they have violations on there, you're probably not going to want to use the company.
I see.
So not necessarily that you're looking for a good report, but you don't want a negative report either.
Well, there's some agents out there that are looking for those people, though. You know?
That's true. If you want something done shady, then DOBO is not your option.
DOBO, okay. Well, that's interesting. Also, you mentioned that the Department of Oversight comes in and does audits. That can get fairly expensive for the escrow company, couldn't it?
Yes, and we have to pay for it.
Give me an idea what it costs for.
You know, honestly, I couldn't even tell you. I know it's not less than $500, and anytime they come in and audit, but what you hope for is when they audit, they find no violations, because the violations are where you start spending money. So if you get correction notices of what's wrong, they actually pull random files from closed, open, canceled. They pull a sample from all over the place. And then depending on what their results are, you can get violations, and then you got to pay fees.
Nice.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with some more Real Estate Rant.
Nurses Life Express provides unique apparel for all the hardworking nurses that wear many hats. It's apparel that expresses nurses' amazing, humorous, and caring personalities. After all, nurses are as influential as their united goal to help others. Nursing's not easy, but somebody's got to do it. For more information, please call 562-270-4312 or visit their website at www.nurselife.com. www.nurselyfe.com. Nurseslife.com, where nurses' lives are expressed.
The Share Foundation is the health division of the Coy Chiropractic Institute, a 501c3 509A2 public nonprofit organization dedicated to the growth and development of the natural health care services. In particular, through the chiropractic profession, offering health services at the Share clinics in the greater Los Angeles area. Your donations can help in expanding these facilities across the nation, research programs, and public education, thus offering a solution to the many of the health challenges we face. Your donations are tax deductible and can be sent through our website at www.sharefoundation.com. That's www.cherfoundation.com by clicking on the donation button. Thank you.
The experts know that for pastry, Baker's Bodega has it all. Exclusive brands like Westco Bankmark, Satin Ice, and Pastry Pride. One-on-one day seminars for cake decorating and gelatin art. So for our service, wide range of ingredients and supplies, and for the low prices, Baker's Bodega has it all. But you don't need to be an expert. Baker's Bodega, 7869 Paramount Boulevard in Pico Rivera. Come, we're waiting for you.
Hey, bro, this is a good game. You know what would make it better?
What, bro?
A michelada.
A michelada? What's a michelada?
A michelada is somewhere in the middle of a Mexican Bloody Mary and a Mexican margarita.
Oh, I got you covered, bro.
You got a cup in your pocket?
No, sir. I got my pocket-sized michelada. Mucho macho michelada.
Pocket size?
Pocket size, so you can take it with you anywhere you go.
Where'd you get that at?
At the nearest convenience store, and you can also buy it at muchomachomichelada.com.
You know what will make it better? After we get drunk, if they had a line we could call.
We can call the drunk line. You can leave a message and then log on to the site and listen to your stupidity afterwards.
What's that number?
It's 855-MICHE-69.
What's that number again?
855-MICHE-69.
Awesome. Mucho macho michelada.
What's up, guys? Sports Guru
And Bud Knocker.
from the Sportscast, Wednesdays, 12 to 2 Pacific on Rant Radio Network.
We got everything you need to know about sports. We got all the latest video highlights. Knock the fuck out. We got Bonehead of the Week. We're talking sports, drinking beer, and having a good time.
If you missed the show, go to rantradionetwork.com and listen on demand. So check us out every Wednesday, 12 to 2 on Rant Radio Network.
Live from the Rant Radio Network,
You're listening to Real Estate Rant with your host, Alex Alanis.
and your co-host, Mr. Alonso Rodriguez.
No problems, just solutions for real estate needs, hot topics, and controversial chat. And we are back to the Real Estate Rant here at the towers of the Rant Radio Network. I'm your host, Mr. Alex Alanis, and to my left here, Mr. Alonso Rodriguez, my broker. In-house today, we have Miss Shannon Peace from Bayside Escrow. You can reach her at 714-550-6300.
A very informative Shannon, may I add.
You like my pick, huh? I had my pick of probably about 15 different escrow people, and when I talked to Shannon, I said, "Oh no, she's my girl.
She's the chatterbox. Huh?
Yeah." Let's just say she has the gift of gab. Okay.
Is that a compliment? I'm hoping.
It is a compliment,
compliment.
absolutely. Because let me tell you, just sitting here with you right now, I've learned a lot. Okay.
That's good.
Yeah. So, and these are things that
Just
again,
in the first 20 seconds that she spoke, I was like, she covered everything I had to ask. It was like, literally, and I was like,
Can we
wow,
hear it
like.
again?
Can we hear what again?
The whole thing about what she said in 20 seconds?
You know what?
Do you remember
Pantalones,
what you
sit
said?
down. Wait,
Do you
answer your
remember
phone or
what you
something.
said, Shannon?
I probably
what
said,
escrow-
I believe we're the only party in the whole transaction
go.
that speaks to everybody. We talk to the NHD, the lender, short sale lender, listing agent, seller's agent, or selling agent, buyer, seller, termite, 1031 exchange, HOA, homeowners insurance, IRA custodian, everything, you name it. We're the only party in the transaction
home warranty
that talks to everybody.
There it is, Manny Pantalones, in a nutshell.
in a
So
nutshell.
all I'm hearing is that she's the only one that actually deserves the paycheck she gets in a transaction.
Oh
Absolutely,
man, see,
absolutely.
that's a whole other show. We're gonna have to bring you on the show, Mr. Pantalones.
That's why we're good at talking, because we're the only one that does all the talking.
So, to the listeners, $25 gift card to Stevens Steakhouse, or you can win a $200 teeth whitening to Gardens Dental. Give us a call, 855-693-4897. That's 855-693-4897. You can either call us and give us a question. You can ask Shannon a question or ourselves to get on the show live here on the Rant Radio Network. Or you can pick the design deal. If you happen to be watching and looking at the design that we have up there and happen to choose the design, you can win one of those gift cards. And it's been a tough one, huh?
It's been a tough one. It's been up like we're going on the 5th week with that one.
I think 5 or 6 weeks, possibly. It's a tough one. There's a long run on this one, and it's funny too because it's an easy one. I picked some hard ones. Remember the French? What was it? The French? I don't remember. Do you remember the French one? The
Colonial, was it?
Oh, French Colonial. Somebody actually called in and got French Colonial, and
by all means, there's Google out there. Google it.
that's okay. I mean, I'd rather you don't cheat, but if you
How will
can
they
get
know?
it. The idea is to educate those who are looking at different style homes to know what kind they are, and just doing the research myself, I've learned myself all of these different things that I never knew.
And you Googled it,
Does
I'm
it,
sure.
Alex,
of course.
Alex, does it really matter? What are they looking at? They're looking at the kitchen. As long as the kitchen is good, that's what that's all they're looking at.
But if you're sitting at a cocktail party and you're saying, "What kind of house do you have?" "Oh, I have a French Colonial." Or,
really,
I
Alex?
I have one with four walls.
Do you really go around and you tell, well, what kind of house? A French Victorian, a ranch style California roof? Or,
let me tell you, when you have your cocktail and your pinkies up like that, that's what you're talking about.
I don't know. Then you're probably one of those guys that only hangs out at lounges, huh?
You had to rub that in, didn't you? You had to bring that up on the air to top it all off. Again, give us a call, 855-693-4897. Shannon, there was something interesting that we talked about yesterday, and it was a comment that you made, and I thought this was a bit interesting. Escrow is always the one that's at fault.
That's true.
And I thought that was interesting.
We always
Expand
get
on that a little.
blamed, whether it's our fault or
and
not.
that's because you guys are the ones only doing the talking.
That's apparently right. But what people have to remember, escrow receives instruction. We don't give instruction. We don't tell people what to do in the transaction. We don't, other than where our loan docs, things like that. But we don't actually instruct anybody as to the terms of the transaction. We receive the instruction. It has to be mutually agreed upon.
It's all on the contract, right?
Right. And so, but say, for example, a seller or buyer wants to lower the sales price because of inspection. For example, a buyer doesn't like whatever. I get an email from a selling agent that says buyer wants to reduce the sales price $20,000. I can't do anything about that if the seller side doesn't agree.
Yeah, you need a written contract,
right? Or we can prepare an amendment, but I need an email telling me from the listing agent or the seller, yes, I'm okay with that, and
they need to sign it.
Yeah, and it needs to be signed, right? So the thing is, we may not perform on certain requests or things like that, but that's because we're not in a position to. But because we are not performing, so to speak, they think that we're not doing our job, or if something happens and we're not able to do whatever needs to be done that they feel needs to be done, we're given the fault, even though we're just acting within our limitations. We're very limited in what we can do.
It's all your fault, Shannon.
It is. It always is. Anyone out there who works in escrow will tell you it's always escrow's fault.
I'll tell you, I know exactly what you're talking about. Because
so that leads into the next question. Why do some states use attorneys instead of escrows?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Well, I was researching on some of that, and actually I've noticed that in other states, because I actually do nationwide refis, and I do the whole state for sales. So I don't go into other...
But you can't do Mexico.
No, because that's not a state. It's not in America.
It's United States of Mexico.
It was United States. It was property of Mexico, United States.
It was.
I'm actually working on becoming international, actually. So I won't say no. Okay. Right? I'll say no for the moment, but not no permanently.
I was kidding around, but that's interesting.
But no, I actually have an agent who does a lot of like agricultural and stuff like that in Mexico. So I'm trying to become international as well. I have to figure out.
That's terribly sexy.
So my what I was going to say though is other states, they have different real estate laws. We're driven by California. And so to do a sale in another state, you obviously want to use somebody who's in that state. But I have found out that attorneys are in some states the only ones allowed by legislation to prepare documents. So they're attorney states by legislation, which means escrow cannot act in that state other than paying people, doing disbursements. And in most other states, it's not a true escrow as we know in California. It's what they call an escrow person, but it's generally a closing agent, which is somebody in your title company. California, and more specifically Southern California, is the only escrow-driven state in the whole country. No other state is escrow-driven the way we are. They might call somebody escrow, but they're going to be in a title company 99% of the time, which means they're a title closer.
So they're not even an attorney. They're just a closer. They're
right.
just somebody is certified, licensed, any of that stuff?
No, I don't even think you need all that because remember, again, they're DOI.
Okay, so it falls under that umbrella.
Yes.
That's interesting. So outside of the state of California, you're using a DOI escrow.
More than likely because you're using a title company's escrow company. Or they're, so-and-so title company escrow. Usually I don't want to name a title company, but usually it's blank title company escrow. That's the name of it. And that lets you know it's an in-house and it's DOI.
I have to say that's discrimination.
Just like
it has to be unfair.
It's unfair.
Just like us now, when we have our in-house escrow, we have to name it a non-independent escrow of blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
Non-independent?
Yes.
It has to be on the title. And you have to post it anywhere advertised.
My eyes just crossed. What do you mean by non-independent?
It's not independent.
That means
and independent is the DOBO.
What
Everybody else is non-independent.
What it means is you can't do outside escrows. You can only do your in-house escrows.
Okay, she mentioned that, but what I was thinking about when you said that was the name.
Well, that's what they name it. I don't know why non-independent, but that's what.
If you do an escrow from the BRE for AGR and Associates, it would have to be AGR and Associates escrow.
Yes.
You have to put that title, a non-independent escrow.
So it's not okay.
Yeah.
I understand because. All these things that are floating around, my eyes crossed a little bit.
There's quite a few escrow companies that are affiliated with a major real estate company, but they're not broker owned. They're still DOBO, but there's an affiliation. So then they have to disclose the affiliation too. And one thing I want aware to a lot of people that they may not realize is that we are in a buyer's choice state. The buyer has the choice.
Explain.
The buyer has the choice
Well,
for title and escrow.
Okay.
That's why it's a blank on the contract.
That's Respa 9 and
Right.
AB 9.
We
957,
generally-
But what happens?
right?
What happens when that? What happens is when that happens is that now the people who are paying the fees, the escrow fees, and you want to choose your are the sellers. Sellers contribute to the escrow fees. So now if you're choosing as a buyer the escrow.
They
Then
take
you're
it
not
away.
getting no help from the seller. So what happens?
They use it as leverage. They use it as
Exactly.
leverage.
But do you realize that general practice in California is buyers and sellers split escrow fees 50-50?
No. What we're talking about is additional closing costs that we're requesting from the seller. The seller will say, well, if you're going to choose the escrow company, then we're not going to pay those fees.
Right, but they don't actually have that choice by law. Most people defer to the seller to get their offer accepted.
Now, are we talking about AB 957
Right, and RESPA guidelines.
and RESPA 9?
Yes.
Okay, now this is my question because I've read both of those, and it only talks about REO properties.
It applies to everyone, though.
Does it?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're gonna have to.
No, that's a big thing with REOs.
We're gonna have to reference that maybe after the show, but I'm interested in that because I've had so many agents tell me, "Oh no, that's only REO properties," and when I go to read it, that's what it says.
Hey, stop it!
No, it's broader than that.
I see. Okay.
It is. Now, I would have to go back and read it. Read the line items.
Maybe
of
I
the
should.
law.
Maybe I should look it up on Google.
Yeah.
Google it. Some clarity.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Google it.
Yeah, exactly. So,
What the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah.
well, I got a frog on my throat. That's for sure.
California is one of the few, if not the only, I'm not sure about that, but we're a buyer's choice state. And that's why it's a blank on the contract, because the buyer does have the choice. Just like they have choice of services with lenders, appraisal and all that. Now, who do you usually go with? You usually go with whoever you are working with refers to you, or whoever they're affiliated with, just because that's easy. And how do you normally get your offer accepted? You go with the seller's choice. So we have a normal practice, but what's actually law is allow the buyer.
Wow, that's interesting.
Allow the buyer, but it's not gonna. Your offer's gonna get rejected because you didn't choose their escrow, seller's choice escrow.
Well, one of my things is most people want to use their escrow because they have
Control.
agreed prices, things like that, and I'll match any reasonable price to earn the business.
Well, you know what I always I'm afraid of is that sometimes the escrow companies are going to charge a little bit more, and then they're giving a small kickback to the agent.
That's a violation.
And I'm glad that you said that because there's no
I've
way
actually been
there's no way to
presented with
prove,
that.
but there's no way to prove that. I mean, so they're giving it to them under the table. I've had attorneys do that stuff to me.
I've actually been. I've had a proposition similar to that, and we had to turn down the whole partnership because they wanted kickbacks. That's such a violation.
And we'll have to talk about that after the break because that's a very sore subject on for me, and this is again one of the things that I wanted to kind of bring to the surface in terms of ensuring the public trust.
We'll be right back. Don't touch that mouse. They're getting hot.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with some more Real Estate Rant.
Looking for a delicious, fresh family meal that's ready when you are and easy on your budget? Welcome to Piara Pizza. We make our pizzas with handmade dough, 100% real cheese, and tomato sauce blended with our own spices. Nothing is ever frozen. We always have large pepperoni and cheese pizzas fresh and waiting for you for only $5. Or choose one of our specialty pizzas. We have veggie, meat lovers, supreme, and Hawaiian. Add an order of our amazing hot wings, cheesy bread, or breadsticks. Our locations are ultra-modern, ultra-clean, and open 7 days a week. Visit any one of our locations today, or check us out on the web at www.piarapizza.com. Piara Pizza. Fresh, hot, and ready for you when you come in. Stop in for your Piara Pizza today.
Building a custom home or business is a huge deal. For some, it's the largest project they'll take on in a lifetime. Choosing your team may be the most important part of ensuring a successful building project. Starting a project by working closely with Core Design will create what's just right for your lifestyle and your property. But selecting the right builder is perhaps the most important part of creating the team. At Core Design's customer service, quality craftsmanship, and integrity are the keys to our company philosophy. Your custom construction dreams are just a phone call away. Core Design at 213-453-1609. Once again, that number is 213-453-1609.
3 balls, 2 strikes, the pitch.
Make your team look like pros with custom lineup cards. Whether you are a travel team, rec team, all-star team, or just some old guys playing slow pitch, we can make your team look a little better with some custom lineup cards. For the umpire, for the opponent, for the scorekeeper, for the dugout, no matter where your lineup card goes, you will look like a big league team with your team logo and name on top of your personalized lineup card. Just visit CustomLineupCards.com. With the best prices in town, you are sure to hit a home run with us. Visit CustomLineupCards.com and go pro.
Number 1. Number 1.
Is that a stutter or as high as you can count?
I was ordering number 1 tequila.
Everybody's asking for number 1.
Great, another fancy bottle.
These guys are true artists. Never compromise integrity. They make tequila
Come
the
on.
old-fashioned way. Never mass-produced.
So what are you saying?
I'm saying have the number 1. Anything less is number 2. Number 1, tequila.
Everyone, even Elvis loves Firehouse Chefs.
Catch FHC Radio every Wednesday from 8 to 9 p.m. on the Rant Radio Network.
Live from the Rant Radio Network, you're listening to Real Estate Rant with your host, Alex Alanis.
And your co-host, Mr. Alonso Rodriguez.
No problems, just solutions for real estate needs, hot topics, and controversial chat. And we are back on the last segment of the Real Estate Rant here at the Rant Radio Network.
Welcome back to our heated conversation. Joining us, Shannon.
Miss Shannon Peace and myself.
Very informative, Shannon.
Mr. Alex and Mr. Alonso. And in studio, we have Miss Bev Lazo from Culinary Trends. You can see her show on Thursdays, I believe at 6:30. Did I get that right? Oh, look at that. You know, I've been trying to...
Let's try 8 o'clock.
Is it 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock.
Did you change it? Does that...
He said 6:30.
Oh, okay. 8 o'clock. I'm sorry. Okay, well,
remember, we're airing from New York.
That's why I wanted to mention it.
We're airing from New York, so we got an hour difference.
We're on Eastern Standard Time here. Give us a call, 855-693-4897. You can win a $25 gift card, Mr. Pantalones, if you will. The last design deal of the day. Give us a call, 855-693-4897, or you can email us at realestaterantradio@gmail.com. If you get this design, you can win a $25 gift card to Stevens Steakhouse or a $200 teeth whitening to Gardens Dental, located in the city of Bell Gardens. We had some interesting conversation here at the break because we talked about a couple of things, but we ended up on setting up, or a company's potentially trying to set up a deal with your escrow company and trying to get kickbacks, and you had to say no.
Kickbacks. I've actually had proposition in writing to do something of that nature.
In writing?
Yes, it was very bold. And we had to turn down the entire marketing partnership because, I mean, that's just not something you want to go into. Violations, there's no transaction worth my career.
Well, exactly,
And
but it's a violation for an escrow company to take a kickback
from anyone for any reason of any sort.
For getting business.
Yes, no, you cannot. You can't even get, I mean, I've even had notaries say, oh, well, I'll give me more business and I'll give you cash kickback for using. Can't do it. That's just not legal.
Yeah, but why? Tell me why.
Because there should be no kickbacks. And any money that's exchanging hands needs to be disclosed on the HUD. If it can't be put on the HUD, it can't happen.
So if you disclose it?
But that won't be allowed. It's just not legal. It's not, that's the whole thing that took our market down, was all the stuff happening in the back end that people, things that shouldn't have been happening.
Well, what I'm getting at is the reason why. Why is that law even in place? And
it also removes your neutrality as an escrow agent.
Well, exactly. It has to do with leveling the playing field, where now if you have an individual, because in real estate, they talk about this a lot. I hear this a lot in class. They talk about 95% or 5% of the real estate agents have 95% of the business, and the other 95% have the other 5% of the business. So if you have a group of individuals that are controlling or monopolizing the industry, they could potentially also control the other industries, or the ones that are in
your service providers.
The service providers that are also related to real estate, and you mentioned a lot of them. escrow appraisal, termite, home warranty, title. I mean, the list goes on. Okay.
And let me add, Alex. This happens often where you're talking about these producing agents that have a lot of the market or a lot of the sales. What makes you think that they aren't involved in a company that is owned by a different escrow company? It's an escrow company.
Okay, well, you mentioned something,
and
though.
It happens. There is people that are doing that.
Well,
They're
sure.
affiliated with an escrow company. Why? Because they have the majority of the business. So now their business is going to their escrow company.
Okay, but you mentioned that there's a legal way to do it, and the legal way to do it is as a broker, you're going to open your own escrow company.
Exactly, but what happens is that they want more. They want everybody's escrows now.
Their only option would be to start a DOBO escrow, and they would be an owner on paper, and then that would be completely legal.
And there's companies that have done that. There's
Mhm.
large companies that have gone and they've had the resources and the wherewithal to go and open one of those types of escrows, and they're named something else, but they're affiliated to some of the larger companies, which is
And there are
perfectly
major
legal.
real estate companies that do have independent escrows. I've worked for some, but you'll notice on escrow instructions, there's always an affiliation clause. There's a specific title company. There's one real estate. I don't want to name the names, but they own.
Come on, Shannon.
Under their umbrella, they own a title company, an escrow company, a mortgage broker, a 1031 exchange, and they have another company. I'm trying to blank on what it is, but they have all those
TC.
5 under their umbrella. So there is one bigwig getting paid on all those companies, but there's affiliation and there's disclosure everywhere, and that's all you need to do is disclose.
Yeah, and if the general
disclosures.
That's right.
If the general public doesn't know what they're reading, because a lot of agents, what they're telling their clients to do is here, just sign here.
Right.
And the disclosures are there, but it doesn't matter. But me as a consumer, why would it matter? But why would I care that if one of these larger companies is affiliated with all of these different companies? Why would it matter? As long as they're doing the work, as long as they're doing
Right.
the
Your
job.
only question would be when neutrality comes up. If there's a conflict between a seller and a buyer over an issue, is that escrow company going to lean towards their client, which could whoever their agent is? So if there's a major real estate company that is affiliated with the escrow company, whoever their agent is on the deal, whether it's the listing or the selling agent, are they going to lean towards their agent? And that's the question when neutrality becomes an issue. And that's why having an independent, non-affiliated, just, standalone escrow company, there's no question of neutrality.
Which is actually what you mentioned now, because you used the word neutrality a couple times, but the word that I've always heard when it comes to escrow is unbiased.
Same word.
Same word. Okay, so this kind of brings a question now. When you talk about disclosure, Alonso brought it up. I've seen escrow instructions that are 4 pages long, and then I've seen others that are like 12, 13 pages long.
That's disclosure. That's all that is. And mine are pretty exhaustive. I try to reiterate as many terms as I can in the contract. So there's no question. I mean, an RPA can be, daunting for a buyer and seller, but I try to reiterate it as much as...
For listing agent. And I know. Why are you laughing,
It's
Shannon?
so true.
Because they don't read it, do they?
No, and you know how many times I've called an agent out and said, did you realize that you did not mark the box on page 2 for termite, but we have a WPA attached? Is there really termite or completion, or is there not? But, it's our job as escrow to reiterate the terms of the deal. There's no emotion involved as an escrow officer. I'm reiterating black and white. And there's no question when you break that neutrality is when you're putting your own personal relationship with an agent or whatever in front of your black and white terms, and that's when you cause a problem. And all my job is to follow instruction and reiterate the terms of the contract. It's not my job. I can suggest solutions, but I cannot create
That's where it kind of gets confusing. You talk about neutrality, but since you guys are very limited in what you can do, how does that play out? What can escrow do if there is a problem with a problem arises in an escrow situation?
It depends on what the situation is. My goal at the end of the day is to close every deal. So if I feel that a deal's I feel a buyer's starting to back out because they're going to cancel for whatever reason, I'm going to call the other side and tell them, hey, you might want to call the other end and try to save the deal. My job is to close escrows. That's it. How do I do that?
Well, that's how you make money.
How do I do that? I have to, in my neutral, unbiased, and straightforward way, handle the facts, and try to close the deal. Now, that doesn't involve, and it's a very emotional process to sell a house or buy a house. We're all human. There's humans involved.
Oh, I'm sure you got some stories about that.
Oh yeah, but the thing is, there are certain things you just can't do. I have to have original signatures on certain things to close the deal. There's no question about that. I have to have money in escrow. Can't give you a receipt without funds. There's certain black and whites I just can't go around. And there are, everywhere we know where our cushion is of gray, but there are black and white, hard and fast. I can't break it. If we can't get the transaction in this box, it's not going to close. My goal is to get everything in the box so that we can close.
Interesting. Wow. Well, I'll tell you, we could probably go on for days with this particular topic. Escrow is a lot more involved than I thought anyway. And
absolutely,
the
there's
amount
a lot
of research
of work that goes.
Yeah, the amount of
involved.
research that you brought, you brought a big pack of stuff. Was there anything else that you wanted to cover? I mean, you talked about a particular situation. We talked about one yesterday. I had a situation where there was a $10,000 deposit in escrow. The buyer canceled the escrow for whatever reason. We're way past our contingencies, and the escrow company was holding on to their funds. But once they got an attorney and wrote them a letter saying, well, they never signed the escrow instructions, the escrow company finally broke loose and gave them their money back.
Yeah, there's variables in every transaction. So without having the whole file in front of me, it would be hard to make a call. But I would say, even if there are no escrow instructions signed, you're bound by the contract. So when the buyer chose to cancel, did they do cancellation instructions, the CAR form? Was it signed?
And that's a requirement for returning your deposit.
It was not signed.
Right. So
and this is the argument the attorney made, is that the escrow company the buyer is liable for that $10,000 to the seller, but the escrow company, because they're an unbiased third party, really cannot hold on to those funds because they have no written instruction.
we have no written instruction to release it either.
So
because you said the car cancellation form was not signed.
It was not signed.
We don't have mutual instruction.
So what was born first, the chicken or the egg?
Well, that's and that's a good analogy.
But that's the risk you take by putting your money in escrow, and that's
Yeah.
one of the big things. That's the one with regards to a short sale. You have the short sale addendum on the car contract, and it addresses initial deposit just for that reason. What if the short sale can't go through, but the seller wants to keep the money? Well, that's not fair to the buyer.
Yeah.
It was through the buyer, no fault of the buyer. So
I always write up an addendum on all that. Yeah.
Right. There's a short sale addendum for that reason, but it's one of those things. Escrow cannot do anything without mutual instruction to anyone's
Exactly.
benefit or detriment.
Well, there's something I learned in school where actually a buyer doesn't even have to put a deposit in escrow. They can just give it to the seller.
If that's what it says on the contract.
Yeah, exactly.
And as an escrow officer,
or they could give it to the
trust,
broker
the
and
trust.
put it in a trust account.
Right,
Yes,
right.
yes.
But
They
that's
could
one
put
of
it
the
in the
things.
broker's Vegas account.
He likes that one.
Yeah, I'm sure. Some escrow companies, though, will not work without money in their file, and that's just a policy on their own.
Yeah, I mean that's just some leverage that I think most agents need to work on.
The bigger question is, when you have an HOA or you have hard costs incurred, escrow needs to be able to recover those if there is a cancellation. And then that's why we really want initial deposits, is if, you had to order a messenger to pick up the deposit or to get loan docs or whatever, there's always some cost being incurred at some point.
Well, Shannon, we're coming up on the end of the show. Thanks for joining us, and maybe we'll call you back again. This is an interesting topic. Thanks for listening in to Real Estate Rant here at the Rant Radio Network. Coming up next, we have Sports Guru, or is it Sportscast, at 12 o'clock today. Great show. And also Indy 104. Sportscast. Thank you once again, Ms. Shannon.
Thank you for having me.
And Alonso.
Thanks for tuning in to Real Estate Rant Radio.
Make sure to join us every Wednesday at 10 a.m.
on the Rant Radio Network, where we talk about solutions to your real estate problems.
And that's how you do a show.
The views and opinions expressed by the host or any guest on this show are encouraged to be followed up by a professional tax advisor or attorney, as we are not qualified or authorized to give advice in two areas: legal matters and tax matters.